Hey everybody, welcome to another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Fallout Factions, the core rulebook, which was kindly sent along as a complimentary review copy by Modiphius. So if you guys haven't watched some of my Fallout Factions, welcome to Nuka World battle reports. Jay and I played through the entirety of the Nuka World campaign with the pack facing down, of course, my operators in, the Nuka World expansion from Fallout 4. This is what I have been waiting for since Fallout Wasteland Warfare came out. This is a fully standalone, playable Fallout campaign miniature game. Streamlined mechanics, everything to play is in this one book. 4 factions out of the box. It is completely compatible with the entire wonderful line of both hard plastic and resin Fallout miniatures that are available from Modiphius right now, along with their STLs for the terrain and game assets, and all of the other bits and pieces. You can make an incredibly detailed Fallout miniature game out of Modiphius's current offering, and it's all compatible with what comes in this book. So, is this the same as the Nuka World box? Yes and no. Yes, in that the core mechanics of the game are identical. If you look at the Fallout Factions Welcome to Nuka World box set, it is still a fantastic 2-player box set for playing with this rulebook, and all of the rules for the pack, the operators, and the disciples completely compatible with what comes in here. And in fact, this also expands the Nuka World setting with new special characters, all kinds of additional stuff that was also available as a downloads off the Modiphius website, but they're now printed in here sort of for posterity. This is a full color, I think it's roughly 100 pages, 110 pages, and it completely sort of covers all of the various Fallout universe settings. So you can play this from the Mojave all the way back to the Commonwealth, with everything in between, DC, Chicago, whatever your favorite Fallout game is. You should get generally the rules to be able to follow with those factions. Now, the 4 factions covered in the game: the Survivors, the Supermutants, the Brotherhood of Steel, and then the Raiders are designed to be flexible enough that you could just use whatever miniatures you want. You can have your own narrative or Fallout setting sort of outlined in that, and you can play everything from this period to Fallout 76, as generally speaking, all of the stuff from one of those is going to be in the other. Some stuff isn't available, obviously, from Fallout 76, the Cult of the Mothman, the Scorched, and all those little bits and pieces. But I do believe Modiphius is either making or has already made downloads on their website to have those miniatures become compatible as well. So, welcome to the Wasteland. There are some really great add-ons in this rulebook that I think actually other miniature companies could take note of, and I've kind of noted them here. The first section is, and this is a James Hewitt game. So if you're not familiar with James, he wrote Titanicus, Silver Tower, a bunch of other games. He had Needy Cat Games, which was his production studio, and has done a ton of contract work from Games Workshop through now to Modiphius, making their Fallout game. Great designer, really nice guy, and this is his most recent outing for Modiphius. And it includes some stuff that I think is pretty important, like Wargaming 101. What's a war game? At its most basic, a game which uses models and dice to create exciting stories of warfare on the tabletop. There's a huge variety of tabletop war games out there, each based around specific settings, some fictional, some historical. In Fallout Factions, you recreate the world of the Fallout video game series. And then it kind of outlines the differences between collecting, painting, and playing games. And a nice little call out here for if you're coming from Nuka World, there's 4 factions added to the game. Hazards and facilities have been added, allowing crews to customize their home turf. Specific scenarios have been replaced with objectives and hazards, which have merged into hundreds of combinations to make the game feel unique. So where before there was individual parts of the park you would go to and individual sort of circumstances and the scenarios, what's printed in this book is more of a scenario generator, which will then sort of pair up to make, it says, a ton of different combinations. So the core premises of each of them are sort of set, and then you expand it by having the specifics of the location and the details of what you're trying to do. New Legends of the Wasteland are available to hire before each game. So great. The King of the Park is available, who is basically you as the protagonist in Fallout 4, through all the characters in the park. Also, some of the main characters from the Commonwealth are in there: Fist, Nick Valentine, and Paladin Dance. The story phase has been updated to make campaigns more expansive and interwoven. There's more stuff to do. And then there's new weapons, chems, and perks. So obviously, the Fallout Welcome to Nuka World box set contained rules for pretty much primarily what was available to the miniatures that came in the box, as well as the Disciples miniatures. This is expanded to include everything that's you know, kind of available in the model range, and if you can hire it, basically there's stats for it. In addition, Raiders may note that some rules, weapons, traits, critical effects, and perks have been written differently from the versions in Battle for Nuclear World. This is intentional. As further editions of Fallout factions are released, some rules will have minor clarifications and tweaks for gameplay experience. So in the most recent update, use the rules in that book. Use all the same tokens. So Cappy, your harm tokens for where you're going to build up harm until you die. Weary tokens, exhausted tokens, search tokens, radiation tokens, objective tokens, ploy tokens, and a round marker. I love my round marker, but it is kind of beat up. Basically, the round marker is Nuka-Colas, and as you complete the rounds, you flip them to have them be empty. The problem is that like the more times you take it out of the punch cardboard, it starts to break down. And then your dice, which is your luck dice and your standard dice. And some advice for having fun. Be a good sport, use common sense, and no cheating. One small thing that is breaking the rules isn't cheating as long as everyone agrees to it. In those instances, it becomes a house rule. That's a great definition. And so that's my first kind of point of note of this rulebook. It does a really good job of giving some very practical wargaming advice. A lot of books don't do this anymore, and because it's conversational in tone and it's also in the Fallout kind of like, well, howdy there kind of setting, right? It just feels appropriate to both the rulebook itself and to people that might be coming this from the video game. So good on James for putting this in the book, and also for the design of like Modiphius kind of approaching this as a game that might be the first war game people play, because there's a huge, obviously popular video game and now a TV series behind this. So there's a very like distinct possibility that there's going to be some sort of like new first timers playing a game like this. Playing the game, I'm not going to do a ton of. If you want to get a look into the gameplay experience, go check out the Battle for Nuka World videos that I do. Core mechanics are the same. The player with the initiative token is the active player, and then you hand it back and forth as you activate miniatures. There's ways of doing multi-activations. Do you want to retreat? Do you want to run away? And then as you do activations, there's basically 5 different actions you can do. You can get moving, open fire, patch up, back off, and brawl. These are all things that you can do by engage and disengage. And then it goes back to the active player. There's basically a tired, exhausted mechanic where you do 2 actions per turn. Sometimes you can gain additional tired tokens by doing longer actions. So like when you get moving, you can hurry up, which means that you move 1.5 times instead of 1 time. So normally models move 8 inches. They move 12 inches if they hurry up. They gain an additional exhausted token, and that means that they go all the way to depleted at the end of it all. Rules for some terrain, all the 3D printing stuff, going over the basic crew roster. Now you can have 5 grunts for every champion in your crew. Most tier 1 groups are going to be limited to 3 champions. So for instance, in Brotherhood of Steel, you'd have like a paladin and then like 2 like sergeants. And then hire a bunch of like Brotherhood scribes and initiates and stuff to go with them. In a survivor team, you might have like a vault dweller and then a couple champions and then some basics to hire needed. Same thing with a psycho team. So you're usually gonna start with like a leader and 2 champions. It's very Necromunda, pretty familiar. Obviously that kind of set the template for these kinds of games, but most people coming from a GW game will get what the core mechanics are. It does use special, which I think is great. This is right of the video game, so you have your special stats from 1 to 9. You're always trying to roll low on a dice, and your luck stat allows you to add bonus dice, which are luck dice, to a pool, and those are the dice that explode. So whenever you make a test, it'll like your weapon will say what kind of test it's going to be. So like let's say you're trying to hit somebody with a Ripper, which is a chainsword. If you're trying to hit them, it might be a strength test on 4 dice. You're going to roll 4 dice. If you have a luck of 2, 2 of those dice will become luck dice. And every one that's equal to or less than whatever your strength stat is, say your strength 5, is a hit. Any luck dice that hit allow you to roll regular dice again, which means you can actually go, your luck stat allows you to go above your total pool. And then any of your luck stat dice do trigger a hit, they will also trigger critical effects on your weapon. So nice, clean dice pool mechanic for doing things. Has a good engagement system for like having critical effects, really easy to understand. And if you come from the video game especially, it's really easy to know what to do. You can also level up your weapons. And what's cool is in the tree for the weapons themselves, you'll see what the level ups are, right? So you can add to the rating of a model to spend parts and increase like the range of your rifle, make the test easier, and then add different traits like make it bladed and fast. Fast allows you to shoot it multiple times per activation, so you can use more than 1 action to shoot it. Bladed means you can use it in melee. So a combat rifle, 3 different upgrades for it, makes you more expensive, and as you level up, it's how you level up your guns. It's a good a nice simple expression of the tinkering system in Fallout 4, and also allows you to pick a classic guy you know, over the campaign, basically improve him. And then, yeah, this was the rolling dice thing I just already described. Gameplay basically is going to be the same. And again, I'll link in the at the end of this video. You can go check out in the, or even just in the cards, you can go check out the Let's Play for Fallout Wasteland Warfare, which will take you through it. So yeah, going through the game rounds, these are just all of the subs. So preparing to play. This is the one that's slightly different because in previous, you'd pick a scenario. Now you're going to choose your rival, so whoever else in the campaign you're going to play against, nominate a leader to go out from your roster. Create a deployment pool and round tracker. So basically you're going to roll to see what your scenario is going to be and like how many rounds you're going to do, and then figure out your objectives. Once again, there's basically going to be a bunch of different types. So is it your 5th game against the same rival? If it is, then you go to Annihilation, which is the final showdown. If not, then has the crew completed their tier 3 goals? If yes, then you go to Ascension, where you might level up a hero and become like a super character. Did you roll a raid result on the raid tables? Yes, then you're going to play a raid mission. And no, you should do a wasteland encounter. And these two have like a variety of different ways that they can pan out. Determine your hazards, whatever makes the battlefield unique. Set up the terrain, prepare your crews, prepare any advantages that you have for your train, your group, and then start putting guys down and play a game. Story phase happens at the end. It's your post-game sequence. That's basically the biggest change to the game is going to be how you do those things. And of course, you have your objectives. They can be based on whether you're an overdog or an underdog too. They could change, so who has a higher rating. And then the encounters themselves can have different things underneath that make them different. So like a raid objective could be to pillage, assault, occupy, or rescue. The wasteland encounter could be like what you're gonna try and do. Scavenge chems, scavenge caps, scavenge parts, be a hunting party, search for a vault key to get into a vault, exert power, investigate something, secure a vault, ambush, or do a duel. And then hazards could be things like it's irradiated, there's minefields, bogs, turrets could just randomly be about, low vis, barren city ruins. There could be unstable fuel hanging out, it could be harrowed, and then you can just choose one as well. If you play on home turf, if they're raiding your location is always gonna have a hazard that'll be from this table as well. And then, yeah, and then you set up all your terrain features. So I like this. I like that you've got a bunch of different ways of playing the game now, and that afterwards there's also the big objectives like Ascension. Ascension could be like, after completing their tier 3 quest, a crew can attempt to ascend to legend with this objective. When preparing to play during the determined objective step, if either or both crews have completed their tier 3 goals, then they play an Ascension game. So basically, if you've done your quest lines to get you to tier 3 and you've like expanded your group that much, then you might want to try and do like your final showdown, your finale. In an Ascension game, if only one crew has completed tier 3, they become the attacker. If both crews have completed it, tier 3 goals, they become the underdog, then the underdog is the attacker. Think of this as like the end of the video game, right? This is like blowing up the blimp in Fallout 4 or destroying the Enclave's oil rig. It's that kind of a mission, right? It's the final showdown with the big bad, whoever your rival is going to be. Then story outcome, if only the attackers completed their tier 3 goals at the end of the game, the attacker model is within proximity of at least 4 uncontested objectives, their crew ascends to legend. And so basically if you ascend to legend, when a crew ascends to legend, it unlocks an ascension ability for all crews of the same faction within an ongoing campaign. So when you ascend to legend, basically there's going to be like a huge faction quest line that you basically add like a special rule to the entire faction, which I think is really cool. This is the scenario sort of like keynote, so like for hunting party, what your story outcome is going to try and be, what you're doing when you're scavenging parts, like basically the additional setup options for everything. And that's the end of the story phase. So the story phase is pretty much the same as in the Battle for Nuka World, but expanded to be like kind of anywhere as opposed to being in the park itself. Resolve the outcomes of your story, treat the wounded, clear your advantages, which means get rid of your temporary chems. If guys have like a rival level, like a gang rating basically that's different, then you would buy different advantages like chems and stuff to balance it out. And then do your story actions afterwards. Your heroes go off and do things. Barter, craft chems, train the crew, expand, migrate, modify weapons, and open a vault if you have the keys. If that's your storyline. So you can literally do the quests from Fallout 1 by playing this. See what happens with captives if you catch somebody. And then read the faction list. So the 4 factions, like I said, are going to be key. But the first thing that comes before the faction here is, I think, a really important page. Setting up a space. Advice on setting up a social media space to communicate throughout the campaign. I have never seen this in a game rulebook before in this detail. Basically, it's advice on how to organize your campaign in a modern way so that people know what's going on, they get their games in, and they get to play. I love this. Rivals board, cruise board, Legends of the Wasteland, house rules, ascension abilities, battle reports, photos, chat, and inviting players. Just advice on like how to keep people interested in having fun. I love this. This is something that like if this was in a Necromunda rulebook or some other like Warband campaign rulebook, and companies like leaned into this more, I think it would be fantastic for them. I mean, this happens organically, but for a rulebook that's going to be potentially for people that are coming to this outside the tabletop wargaming space, this is a great page and a great piece of advice. Like I said earlier, these lists are not dissimilar to the ones that were already available for download from the Modiphius website, but covering the Brotherhood of Steel, and you get power armor paladins, field scribes, knights, who can just be regular guys in power armor, aspirants, initiates. And then you get your unique weapons that you can buy for them. If you wanted to, like additional weapons and changing things. Your own ploys that you can do, the chain that binds and vertibird drops, you can have vertibirds fly in. And then special training table and starter list if you want to just quickly put one down. Here's like an example of what you could play with to quickly get yourself on the table. Rules for Supermutants, they have a special captive story action. They can eat you, which I think is really funny. Masters, Brutes, Skirmishers, Enforcers, and Hounds. I do believe you can get Suiciders and stuff in this as well. And then Survivors. All right, so this is your character in Fallout. A local leader, specialist, security guards, swatters, good boys, and settlers. Good boy's gonna be a doggo. And they've got their own ploys, no place like home, train tables, and a basic list. So if you look at the basic list, we've got what? A survivor team has 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 models, which is about the same as the starters from the Battle for Nuka World. And same with the Raiders. It's gonna be a similar size list, except they get some power armor access because you can get your boss who's going to be wearing power armor. And your butchers can also be wearing power armor, or non-power armor guys as well. No rules for getting bosses not wearing power armor, which I think is interesting. They will always have power armor if they can. And then all the various quest lines, because that's the point here, is that you've got tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 goals. So you pick quests like Ad Victoriam, it's basically the Fallout 4 one, protect humanity from itself. The wasteland around you proves that no one else is to be trusted. So it's basically how evil is the Brotherhood of Steel in this game, which is always a question. Supermutant quest lines, Dawn of a New Age, Ours by Right, and Survival of the Fittest. Survivors, dear hearts and gentle people, my hometown and every time that I return. And then finally, the Wasteland Raiders, Ours for the taking, party time, and make them fear us. And then finally, Legends. So these are your special characters. Like I said, King of the Park, he's a champion leader and his hiring fee is 87. So if you want, you can just have a Legend of the Wasteland show up. Usually a model can become a legend via the Ascension table or the Annihilation table. When a model becomes a legend, copy their profile into the group's legend board, making sure that you include their rating. So your gangs can basically become like legendary heroes. If the model has the natural leader perk, it loses it. Legends added in this way work exactly the same as legends below, but their history makes them unique to your own campaign. To include a profile, Legendary Wasteland, post the model profile on your campaign board so that everyone involved can see them. And yeah, you can have the Iron Fisted King. So Iron Fist, King of the Castle, Natural Leader, and Power Armor for the King of the Park. Cost you 87. This model's crew may use the Nuke and Nuke launcher. In addition, this model's crew may use the faction ploys for the pack operators and disciples from Fallout faction. So you can use all of them, no matter what your crew is. He knows all of those ploys. And the Nuke and Nuke launcher, it's a friendly King of the Park model with a range attack action, can use the Nuke and Nuke launcher weapon. Heavy 20 inches, 5 dice strength, it's area 2, CQB, irradiate, and 1 and done. Because you're just firing that old Nuke launcher just a single time. You get Bottle and Cappy all fizzed up, so if you manage to unlock the 2 animatronics, they can come fight you. Red Eye, the radio operator. Mason, Mags, and Nisha, the 3 operators, or the 3 leaders of the various Raider factions. And Overboss Coulter here, although he's usually dead when this all starts. And we got Nick Valentine, Fist, and Paladin Dance from Fallout 4, so kind of the greatest hits here. Obviously, they may expand this in the future. I'd love to see campaign books for this to give you various settings and stuff. We got an expanded weapon list with all the various weapons from the game. I mean, all. The ones there's miniatures for, basically, for these factions, like baseball grenades and Molotov cocktails added. And then all the key perks. And that's it. So, yeah, coming in about 100 pages. Lovely full color. And really what I've wanted for this game since Fallout Wasteland Warfare. I liked Fallout Wasteland Warfare. It was much too token heavy for my personal taste in miniature wargaming. And it didn't, the gameplay was too much trying to simulate the video game as opposed to focusing on the fun of moving guys around the table. This is a good balance of that. You still get to do all the things you do in a video game, but without kind of the bookkeeping and tokens and stuff on the table that I think just kind of slowed it down and bogged it down, made it a little bit like inaccessible. This is designed to be accessible. There's some great advice about miniature wargaming in it. And if you've been thinking about getting into Fallout for a while, this book basically opens up the entire miniature range on their website for you to play games with. There it is, my Fallout Factions rulebook review. This is well worth the wait, I think, and I'm excited to get this on the table with Jay and play some games. Thanks for watching. See you for more GMG reviews. Till then, Ash.